Hello friends, welcome to another video. I am definitely filming this spur of the moment, and I don't actually think that you guys are going to see this video until at least several weeks from now. I have really been struggling today because I want to go to the bookstore so badly today and just buy a giant haul of books. I don't have these moods very often. I mean, I'm always down for book shopping, but I don't have these deep urges to just go and buy a ton of books very often. But today I'm definitely struggling to do that. I'm really trying right now to keep myself on a book buying ban for at least the next couple months for two reasons. One, money, and two, according to my Goodreads TBR list, I have 124 books that are unread on my bookshelves. So I want to whittle down that TBR a little bit, though I really do enjoy having a very large, very extensive TBR because I like to have a lot of variety and I like having a lot of unread books on my shelf. I don't really know how to explain it besides that. I just like having a really big TBR. I know that for some people it bothers them and they like having smaller TBRs, but for me, I like keeping my TBR in between 80 and 100. So it's a little bit bigger than what I would want it to be right now by about 20-ish books. But just because I have a large TBR does not mean that I do not have the very strong urge to go book shopping. When I tell you that it took a lot of self-control to not leave work and go to the bookstore, but to leave work and come home, it was very hard. And now that I'm home, I feel a little bit more settled, but the urge to still go out and buy as many books as humanly possible is still very strong in me. I would still very happily leave and go to the bookstore and buy a lot of books. I digress. The plan for today, the whole reason why I'm making this video, is to quench the thirst for needing to get new books by rearranging the books that I already have on my shelves. Now, I recently moved, and with that move, I had to take down my floating bookshelves that I had in my apartment, and at my house, I don't necessarily have a good place to hang those up. So I actually lost a lot of bookshelf space when I moved because all of the books that were on my floating bookshelves are now on these shelves. All of my shelves are really full except for one of my romance shelves. So that's an issue. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off all of the books that I have yet to read off of these shelves and put them onto a TBR cart. Now, this cart was not bought for the intention of using it as a TBR cart. It was actually in my pantry, but I rearranged my pantry a little bit and stole it out of there for this project so that I could A, have some more room on my bookshelves, and B, satisfy that need to handle books today. Do I have other things that I should be doing on my to-do list? Absolutely. Am I going to do them? Probably not. I can't get this off of my mind. I've tried. I've already tried to do other chores. This is the only thing in the world that I want to do besides go book shopping. So we're just going to do it. I do have a couple rules for how I'm going to go about this. The first one is that I'm not going to take every book in a series that I have to read off of the shelves. I'm only going to take off the next one in the series. So for example, I have all three books in the Jade City series or the Greenbone Saga series. I would only take off the first book, Jade City, and put this on my TBR cart, and these two would remain on the shelf. The other rule that I'm going to set for myself, or guideline that I'm going to set myself, is that my TBR cart is going to be only fiction. All of my non-fiction that I have yet to read is going to stay on their respective shelves, which are not on these. These two shelves are only fiction, but they're going to stay on their respective shelves until I seek them out to read them. So that is the plan for now. These shelves are going to go from looking really full to looking very sparse in a very short amount of time. So without further ado, I'm going to start pulling books off of my shelf and arranging them on my TBR cart. So buckle in. I don't know how long this is going to take. I'm sorry editing me in advance. This is probably going to be a doozy to edit, but it's what we're doing today. So I hope you guys have fun with this video. Hopefully you guys find some new books that you're interested in or see some of your favorite books. If you haven't already, please subscribe and like this video. It helps me out so much when you do that. And also comment down below any of these books that you either love or books that you're excited to see me read or any books that are on your TBR. Comment anything that you see. If you see a book that you love, please let me know. I want to know what you guys' favorite books are, and I want to know if any of these are on your TBR as well. So let's get started. Here we go. Honestly, this is a little bit intimidating because there's so many books on these shelves that I haven't read. So I might have to rearrange some of these books in series on the shelves just so my bookshelves don't look quite as sparse. It's gonna be interesting. We'll see how it goes. I might have to tweak things along the way. So this is my TBR cart. It's just a little plastic cart that I initially got for cleaning supplies off Amazon. And then when we moved, it made it into our pantry. And now it's my TBR cart. Time to start pulling some books. Shelf one complete. I have 4 books that are going to be going on the TBR cart, but these 3 are the start of new series. I am very glad already that I'm not pulling every single book and that I'm only pulling the next one in the series off the shelf, because these shelves would be so bare if I did that. Like I said, I have such a big TBR. The first book on my physical TBR, Adam by Ted Dekker. This is my one and only horror, and I will probably never read another horror ever again. I have DNF'd this book because it was too scary and I can't, but I am gonna put it on my TBR cart anyway because it bothers me when I don't finish a book. Then I have the Books of Mortal series by Ted Dekker, which is Forbidden, Sovereign, and Mortal. I also have the Beyond the Circle series by Ted Dekker, which is the 49th Mystic and the Rise of the Mystics. And then lastly on my Ted Dekker shelf, I have the Book of History Chronicles series, which is also a Paradise novel. I'm really confused by the naming of this series. Anyway, it's Showdown, which I don't have the actual cover for, Saint, and Sinner. Now we're on to shelf number 2. Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Caveat on this one, I have to read Rune and Rising first, but I have that one on my Kindle. Caraval by Stephanie Garber. City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare. I'm definitely gonna have to do some rearranging on these shelves. Next shelf, we have The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson and Jade City by Fonda Lee. Time to go to the other shelf. There's going to be quite a few on these shelves down here. That Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong. Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nowin. When in Rome by Sarah Adam. Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. Don't You Forget About Me by Vari McFarlane. Honey and Spice by Bolu Babalua. And then I have a couple middle grade novels as well, which is Fever 1973 by Laura Hallease Anderson and Wonder by R.J. Palacio. Next shelf, baby. Sorry for the lighting that keeps changing. Every time I move the camera, it messes with the lighting so much. To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. Also, The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. I love these covers because not only are they fun, but these seashells are textured, and I refuse to buy any edition of this book for the books I have left to buy without these textured shells. Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. How to Walk Away by Catherine Center. Also Things You Save in Fire by Catherine Center. People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. And also Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. Now we're on to my fantasy shelves. Shatter Me by Tahira Mafi. The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. Powerless by Lauren Roberts. Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands by Heather Fawcett. And Dance of Thieves by Mary Pearson. Now it's time for thrillers. 9 Lives by Peter Swanson. Notes on an Execution by Dania Kukafka. Good is Dead by Holly Jackson. Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Q. Sutanto. The Hunting Wives by May Cobb. The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney. And The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stig Larsson. We have my C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien shelf. Honestly, this shelf isn't gonna have that many that I tick off. We have the Book of Lost Tales and also The Lost Road and Other Writings by J.R.R. Tolkien. That's it. These are the last 2 shelves that we have. This is my classic shelf and this is my general fiction and literary fiction shelf. And these 2 are pretty heavy on books that I have not read yet, so bear with me a little bit. Northern Drew Abbey by Jane Austen. Pollyanna by Eleanor H. Porter. The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. And Uncle Tom's Cabin by Harriet Beecher Stowe. I also have East of Eden by John Steinbeck and The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. I also have volume 2 of the Sherlock Holmes stories by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Treasure Island and The Black Arrow by Robert Louis Stevenson. The Invention of Wings by Sumant Kidd. And lastly, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Oh, we're almost done. You should see the pile of books that's just scattered on the floor right now. The Evolution of Annabel Craig by Lisa Grundelwald. Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. South of Broad by Pat Conroy. The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. The Nightingale and Magic Hour by Kristen Hanna. Daisy Jones and the Sixth and One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Blue Like Jazz by Donald Miller. Strange Sally Diamond by Liz Nugget by Liz Nugget. Oh, my bad, Liz. Took so many off. Look at that gap. Oh my gosh. Okay. I have a lot of general fiction reading to do. I have Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. The Mayor of Maxwell Street by Avery Cunningham. And Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. Dark Age and Lightbringer by Pierce Brown. Jade War Declutter and Jade Legacy by Fonda Lee, and the entire Game of Thrones series, or the Song of Ice and Fire series, except for, of course, the first one, A Game of Thrones, all by George R.R. Martin. And that's also not including the books that I'm either currently reading or are on my TBR. That's every book on my TBR. Let me know how many books are on your TBR. Look at this aftermath. I wish you were on a different tripod so I could show you a little bit better. This is the aftermath of what taking every single book off of my shelf that I haven't read looks like. Some shelves are way more hard hit. Some are harder hit than other. Oh my gosh, look at that shelf. Look at this aftermath that is on my floor. Look at that stack. Oh my gosh. Those are all just my fiction reads. Again, none of these are nonfiction reads. You know, I wasn't overwhelmed until I started doing this. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of books. But I'm not overwhelmed because of how many I have to read. I'm overwhelmed because look how bare these shelves are. That's horrible. Okay, after some zhuzhing, it's still really empty. That's what we got. This is just really good motivation to read as many books in my physical TBR as possible. See what we can do with this TBR cart. Maybe we'll have to put some back. Okay, so you can kind of see all of these are hardbacks. These 3 stacks are all paperbacks, and then this little stack is all mass market paperbacks. That way they're all about the same size. That way they're easier to stack, and when I put them on the cart, they kind of make a little bit more sense. Time to fill her up. Okay, so we have a slight problem, and by slight problem I mean really big problem, because all of my books do not fit on this cart. I still have a very chunky stack of books and books that I'm really excited about that are not on this TBR. So I think my first solution to this is only having one book by an author on the cart at a time. At least some books get to go back on the shelf. That's exciting. Let's find some to take out real quick. Okay, I think we did it. Here's a quick little shot of the TBR cart in all of its glory. Back here, I have all of my mass market paperbacks because they're the only ones that can fit long ways like this with hardcovers on top, and some of these were too tall to go on other shelves. On this shelf, I kind of have them stacked facing out, which is not ideal. It's not exactly how I wanted it to go. I wanted all of them so I could see all the spines, but I don't have room for all of that. This cart is not wide enough, so I'll take what I can get. And then on this side, I have some more hardbacks, and it's all kind of a conglomeration. I don't have them organized by genre at all right here. This is the TBR cart as it stands. This is definitely going to help with my too many books on the shelf problem, but now my problem is that these shelves look a little bit bare. I do have to put the stack of books that I had double authors on away, so that will help a little bit. The only thing that's really going to help me fill up these shelves and make them look really good again, really full again, is going to be reading books. So it's good motivation to keep reading as many books as possible. It's a good reminder that even though I really wanted to go book shopping today, I obviously don't need to go book shopping today. And even though I love having a large TBR, I don't have space for them right now. So all in all, it's a good reminder to keep plowing through on the books that I already have. Moving all these books around has renewed my excitement for reading some of them, so hopefully we get to them soon. Anyway, I'm gonna put these books back. Alright guys, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a little chaotic, I know, but now you know every single book that is on my physical TBR, and you got to see my bookshelves go from very full to very empty, and a very clear need that I need to read more books on my physical TBR. I cannot wait to get these bookshelves all filled out again. I love the look of a full bookshelf. I just really wanted to mess with some books today, mix things up a little bit, and having a dedicated stack to my TBR is kind of nice. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to comment down below any books that are on your TBR or any of the books that you saw that you loved. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you guys next time.